High Ultra the CIA Secret War on the Mind. Peer 2. The Science of Control. He was never meant to remember. But memory has a way of surfacing. A former inmate at a U.S. federal prison recalled sudden changes in behavior among fellow prisoners' paranoia hallucinations. Emotional collapse. They weren't aware at the time, but they were part of a classified study, dosed with LSD, monitored, observed, and left to cope. In a military base across the country, soldiers were ordered into quiet rooms and told to relax. Hypnotists guided them through mental regression, planting false missions in their memories, then attempted to erase those memories. Hours later, it rarely worked. But it worked just enough to keep going. This was MK-Ultra in full effect. A brutal, chaotic, and unregulated experiment in human control. Asterisk, the CIA didn't operate alone. They recruited doctors, psychologists, psychiatrists, chemists, even magicians. Yes, actual stage magicians whose knowledge of misdirection and sleight of hand was thought to be valuable in espionage tactics. But more crucially, they found allies in respected academic institutions. Harvard, Stanford, Columbia, McGill. These schools accepted funding for behavioral research with little to no oversight. Professors conducted experiments on students, often under fake identities, fake funding sources, and fake academic P.S. In one study, students were encouraged to write essays about their personal beliefs and philosophies. They were then subjected to aggressive interrogations, verbal attacks, and humiliation designed to break their identities. One of the students in this program, a quiet, troubled young man named Theodore Kaczynski. Years later, he would become the unit bomber. Was and Calder directly responsible for what he became. That's impossible to prove, but the echoes are undeniable. Asterisk and Ultra wasn't a single program. It was a network. Subproject 8 studied hypnosis and polygraph tests. Subproject 119 focused on brainwave manipulation. Subproject 42 involved remote monitoring and electromagnetic stimulation. Subproject 68 under Dr. Ewan Cameron in Canada aimed to the pattern patients to break down their personalities entirely and rebuild them from scratch. Cameron's methods included massive doses of barbiturates and hallucinogens, repeated electroconvulsive shocks, sensory deprivation in sealed rooms, repetitive, recorded messages played for hours or days at a time. Patients came in with anxiety or depression. They left unable to read, speak, or recognize family members. Their family sued the CIA. Decades later, someone died, but no amount of money could reverse what had been done to them. As risk, there were no safeguards, no independent ethics boards, no whistleblower protections. MK-Ultra operatives believe that in order to understand how to protect the mind, they had to learn how to destroy it. They thought they could build a Manchurian candidate, a sleeper agent program to kill then forget. They believed in amnesia drugs, truth serums, neurological reprogramming. They believed fear, confusion, and pain could be used as tools. And for a while, nobody told them to stop. Asterisk. Then came 1977. A journalist named John Marks filed a Freedom of Information Act. FOIA request hoping to uncover the truth about the CIA's involvement in mind control. By pure chance, a small cache of 20,000 documents had survived the purge in 1973. These documents were stored incorrectly in a financial archive. What they revealed was staggering. Doses of LSD administered in safe houses across U.S. cities, experiments on unwitting civilians in bars, clubs, and psychiatric wards, collaboration with foreign intelligence agencies for overseas tests, destruction of lives without consequence. Media exploded. The public was outraged, but accountability was limited. Sidney Gottlieb, the program's lead chemist, testified before Congress, but only partially what should. The testimony was redacted. Some was speculative, and others, like Richard Helms, had already destroyed most of the paper trail. Still, MK Ultra was officially shut down. Asterisk, or was it asterisk? Many researchers believe that while Ultra ended in name, its core principles were simply absorbed into newer, more classified operations, surveillance, psychological warfare, data profiling, social engineering. In the digital age, mind control doesn't require drugs or isolation tanks, that it requires information, algorithms, and influence messaging. Dopamine feedback loops, deep fakes thought. The new tools of psychological manipulation live in everyone's pocket. The foundation laid by MK Ultra, experimentation without consent, influence without transparency, and the willingness to sacrifice individuals for national security has never truly disappeared. That it simply evolved, asterisk. So what can we learn from MK Ultra? That institutions, no matter how powerful, must be accountable. That science without ethics becomes dangerous. That governments can and will violate human rights if no one is watching. And most importantly, that truth has a way of surfacing, no matter how deeply it's buried. Them Car Ultra is not just a chapter of history. It's a mirror. That it reflects what happens when secrecy outweighs morality. When fear overrides compassion. And when silence replaces justice. The victims of MK Ultra may never see full justice. Many have died, many more were forgotten. But by telling their story, we ensure that we remember. We remember what they suffered. We remember what was done. And we remember to ask the questions that no one else dared to ask. Who decides what the mind is worth? And what happens when that power falls into the wrong hands?
If this story moved you, don't forget to hit that like button, tell us where you're watching from in the comments, and most importantly, subscribe for more stories with powerful twists and unforgettable endings.